Here with a Rutherford weather update, joined by meteorologist Justin Bailey. Bryan, Barrett here with you. And Justin, you're out enjoying some of that bright, beautiful Tuesday sunshine.
Yeah, we got a pretty one on us today.
Well, that's going to lead to some severe weather possibilities, and thought we would hop on and kind of talk a little bit about those. What you're seeing now is the day 2 outlook. We're in the level 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 just to the northwest. That has been fluctuating a bit. It's all going to be very dependent on where this front comes in. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but let's just go through a few of the maps. This is the tornado probabilities, I guess, but in the 5% here with the hatched just to the northwest, lining up with the level 3 out of 5. This is for winds. I've kind of outlined Rutherford County here. And of course, we're in the 15% wind risk with the hatch just to the northwest. And here's hail, which is a bit higher than we had previously seen. And day 2 is not to be outdone by day 3, which would be Thursday, or day 4, just a little to the, through Nashville. And here's day 5, which takes us through Saturday. All of this to say there's a lot on the table here.
And like we had talked about previously, we're going to have this front come through, and it's going to be where does that boundary stall out at? And as we said, things could shift one way or the other, and things have shifted a little further to the northwest, kind of putting us more on the fringe edge of that more significant severe weather threat tomorrow, and on the fringe of the overall severe weather threats for the next couple days.
So I've pulled up the HRRR, and this will take us through early in the morning hours on the 3rd. And this just kind of shows maybe some pop-up storms through the afternoon. Definitely going to have all of the severe weather ingredients, it does look like. But here is midnight and 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. Clarksville, up in that corridor out toward Lexington, Jackson, and West Tennessee. I mean, it just looks like storm after storm after storm.
A couple frames there, if you don't mind. Any of those little cells that do pop out here in Rutherford County out ahead of that line, if they're able to mature and break through the cap, those could have all severe weather hazards. Just because they don't look like much on the model's reflectivity doesn't mean that they don't have the potential to develop into mature storms and produce severe weather.
Certainly something.
So don't get caught up just in the line itself. Anything out ahead of that line could produce severe weather.
And that is typical, and it's not like we won't have the ingredients. It's just the forcing is going to stay a little bit further to the north according to the models. So that could change. So that's where this front is going to be wavering back and forth in the northwestern corner. But as Justin mentioned, if they can get going, that could be a problem. So let's look out in the
the greatest concern is going to be north of I-40 and west of I-65. That's the area for Middle Tennessee that I'm most concerned about, with flooding and severe weather.
So this is the GFS picking up, in the afternoon hours, or this is evening hours, just to give you a different perspective and take it a little further out. 4 a.m. on the 3rd. Here is Thursday at 7, 10, 1. And then you just see those same storms rolling over the same areas. And this model showing that we don't get a whole lot, but when we do, they could be on the severe side because there is a severe weather potential or an outlook for every day.
Right.
This is the 5th in the morning hours. And the 5th, here's 7 o'clock. That's Saturday. This looks like when we can finally maybe get this thing on out of here and out of the way. But, I guess the big takeaway from today is even though the Storm Prediction Center has maybe taken us out of the 3 out of 5 and put us in the 2 out of 5, I don't think we can sleep on this system here the rest of the week.
No, well, we're going to have storms in the vicinity and stuff to keep an eye on that could approach and get close to Rutherford County and impact our area here anytime over the next 4 or 5 days.
So again, this is today, no outlook for today, but tomorrow. And then here's our day 3, and it just continues right on through the 5th. All modes of severe weather are kind of on the table. The flooding risk doesn't look like that's as much for our area as it is to the areas further to the northwest, Clarksville into Paducah, Hopkinsville, in that area, all right?
Correct. And those later days, Friday, Saturday, there's still a ton of wind energy in the atmosphere aloft, and the Cape values are still going to be very high south of that boundary. The biggest caution forecasters are mentioning is just uncertainty of how all these other previous storms are going to impact the atmosphere and the cloud cover, outflow boundaries, and where is the actual front going to be as far as determining where the greatest severe weather threat's going to be. So they're pretty broad in painting those threats, but there very likely could be a more enhanced risk any one of those given days, wherever that boundary sets up at.
And Saturday, when you get that front coming through, could be one of those as well. So we'll just have to kind of, that's day 5. So, this is a multi-day event. I don't want to compare it to what happened in 2010 in Nashville, but in terms of there being a heavy rain area, multiple days of storms, that's kind of what we're dealing with if you want to give a comparison.
For comparison's sake, I think Nashville got about 13 and a half, maybe 14 inches of rainfall over a 48-hour period, over 2 days. Here you're looking at, almost 4 days, and some models are showing up to 15, 18 inches of rainfall in some areas of western Kentucky, West Tennessee, northeast Arkansas, southeast Missouri. So some areas, some of our friends up that way are going to be greatly impacted. The forecast offices are using the terms generational flooding to describe it. It's going to be a monumental event up there.
So that's going to get a lot of attention. We're going to focus on Rutherford County and keep looking at everything. And that's going to be a really bad deal for those folks. But we're going to have our own severe weather ingredients really from late Wednesday all the way through maybe early morning hours on Sunday. So we'll be here to kind of keep you updated on all of that. And don't forget to go ahead. Final thought.
That's kind of what we're here for. These big offices and the National Weather Channel and companies, they're going to be focused on the big floods and the tornado warnings. If there's a tornado warning in Clarksville, there's not going to be talk about a hailstorm in Tennessee or in Rutherford County.
Right.
So that's what we're going to be here for. We got you guys covered on every threat and any threat going to be impacting Rutherford County proper.
So be sure to share, subscribe, tell family. Rutherford County, we're covering Rutherford County weather here on Rutherford Weather. For meteorologist Justin Bailey, I'm Bryan Barrett, and stay safe out there. We'll keep you updated.